I had a client call me back. I had designed a new stair in the front of his house earlier, and now he was asking if we could do the rear. There were sweeping views of downtown from the back, and he wanted to glaze the whole rear wall to accommodate them. Inside, in order to take in the view from the kitchen and dining, he wanted to knock out the intervening walls as well. And downstairs, since I found the crawl space below was already half excavated, we dropped the floor for a higher ceiling. Now, when you open one end of a deep space like this to daylight, the other end is left relatively dark, and people tend to look silhouetted against the glare when you're talking with them from the dark end. To remedy this, it's best to introduce daylight into the dark end of the space, typically with skylights, light monitors, or light tunnels. This creates more even illumination by balancing the light coming in the open end. The problem I had in this situation was that the existing roof was almost entirely blanketed by photovoltaic panels. When I climbed up there, I found one existing skylight, which we could enlarge without moving any panels, but there was also the large east-facing gable of the original house that could be opened up with windows. These could let in morning sun and bounce it down into the kitchen, and the enlarged skylight would flood the space at midday. Now, to bring in a little afternoon sun, I knew that the planning department would allow us to put in a dormer no higher than the ridge of the existing roof without having to go through neighborhood notification, as long as we kept it to 3 feet from property line and under 8 feet square. So I designed a kind of elongated half dormer just to squeak in under the PV panels with a west face that was all glass. This allowed some daylight into the kitchen, even into the dinner hour. So with the daylight openings arranged in the roof this way, I knew I had to channel them down to the kitchen without compromising the structure of the ceiling plane. As in most townhouses, the long walls easily resist lateral loads on the structure, namely wind and earthquake loads, in the long direction, east-west in this case. Transversely, in the north-south direction, the house is weaker. Here there was a wall near the center of the house that had enough area to strengthen with shear ply to carry the loads down to foundation. And over at the new glazed wall, there was enough room in the roof and floor assemblies to bury a steel moment frame to take care of those laterals. In between the two, however, there was a long offset ceiling diaphragm that had to retain its resistance to lateral sway, and I was puncturing that with a gaping hole for daylight. So I bridged that opening by superimposing an X-brace to help transfer lateral loads over to the vertical assemblies and down to foundation. So with the structure accommodated and light baffles in place, we get early morning east light bouncing a warm glow into the kitchen, midday sun brightening the space with direct white light, and in the late afternoon just enough remaining sun to remind you the day isn't quite over. When construction was finished, it was nice to find confirmed that even during overcast days, the kitchen was washed in natural light, and though tucked halfway back into the house, light suffuses through the space almost enough to make you feel as though you're in a pavilion of sorts, overlooking the city below.